Hello, everyone. So excited to see everyone rolling in. This is surreal. Sharon's just gonna be letting people into the waiting room as we get started. Always an option for your cameras, option for camera off. We are recording this just as an FYI. So if you do not want to be on camera, definitely turn those cameras off. So exciting. I'm gonna give it like a few minutes before we get started. Oh, love people are going in the chats. Introduce yourselves. Maybe everyone while we're waiting just sends like where you're calling or where you're coming from. Maybe a city, a town. Love to see where everyone's from. I'm assuming a lot of East Coast Boston people, but oh, Penn State, Dover, New Hampshire. I live right by there.
Look at this. Look at
Athens,
that.
Georgia. Oh my God, I love it. California, New Jersey, Northampton, Detroit, High Point, Ohio, went to school in Ohio, Kentucky, Dallas, Virginia Tech. Oh my goodness. So cool.
Ask Aaron's dad if he has Aaron's lease.
Plymouth State, love it. Texas, oh my gosh. Roll Tide, someone said that. Love it. Detroit. So cool. This is the power. First of all, I'm just gonna say it. This is the power of social media. Like all of this comes from one freaking TikTok that I posted in my room after a busy day of work. And like here we are with an amazing panelist of girls, the VP of marketing of Form, like craziness. So we're gonna let people roll in, but I'm just gonna get started and share my screen and just dive in. So we'll let people keep rolling in as we start, but all the panelists are also pinned at the top as well. So hopefully you can see us all, but I'm so excited to have everyone here. I literally got emotional this morning about it because I just can't even believe that we're doing this. And I've always wanted to, help people get into their dream careers. And I know the job market right now is so tough. So this is strictly your time, and I want you to take full advantage of the resources, the people here. And yeah, we'll just dive right in. So, welcome everyone. I know we kind of just went in the chat and told everyone where we're from, but tell us in the chat like what's one thing you hope to take away from this and or what excites you most about working in social or in marketing, whether that's, content creation, working with brands, campaign activation, working cross-functionally with people, at the company. Kind of give me like what are we hoping to get out of it? Connections, make some new connections, navigating the job post grad, totally get that. Resume help, Sharon, she's here for that. Interview tips, networking, post grad opportunities, connections, stand out in the market, working with brands, so many things. Oh my gosh, I love this. Making connections, resume and interviews, post grad, working with influencers and brands. Yep. Strengthening the resume, post grad. Okay, love it. So, super exciting. One thing I do want to show is this morning, every morning I pull affirmation cards, and I pulled one this morning and it said I can do and accomplish anything I set my mind to. And I thought that was so special, especially for today. Very serendipitous for the event. Obviously, like, the panel, this is my first time doing anything like this, and that comes with anxiety, new things, everything like that. So I felt like this card was not only applicable to myself and the panelists, but also to all of you coming in here, learning what you can, taking the resources that we're going to give you, and then going out and accomplishing anything that you set your mind to. So, kind of just setting that intention for the next hour and a half and coming back to that as we go through this. So, here's just kind of the overview. I'm gonna go over this really quick. Just heard from you, heard your goals, what you want to get out of it. We're gonna go over the team, meeting the panelists, and then we have a Q&A with Sarah from Form. She's going to talk about kind of what she looks for from like a hiring manager perspective. So when you're interviewing for those brands, what should you be highlighting, things like that. Also her insane like history and her career path and how she got to where she is. And then we're going to go into the social panel with myself and four other panelists talking all about how we got hired and giving you all the tips and answering all the questions that you guys submitted beforehand. And then we'll have an opportunity for breakout rooms. We'll have two 10-minute breakout rooms. You can stay in the room as for the full 20 minutes, or after 10 minutes, you can switch to the next breakout room. But essentially, each panelist will be in a room and you can have more personalized conversations, ask the questions that maybe you don't feel comfortable asking in a full group. And then we're going to close out with some resources and things that you guys can take along after this call. Okay. So diving right in, quickly going over the goal. This is a very Q&A style webinar all about helping you land your dream job in marketing and your social media, keeping it super, super casual and conversational. And I really want this to be a space where people can ask real questions, have authentic conversations, hear honest stories, and walk away feeling more confident, clear-headed, and connected in your own career journey. So whether you're just starting in that journey or you're looking to make a pivot, this is going to be for you. Oh my gosh, I see my little and my business fraternity just joined. That's so fun. Okay. And then once again, this time is for you. So take notes throughout this. Like take a crap ton of notes. We're going to be recording it and we'll send it along after, but definitely have that notepad, your phone, anything nearby. Ask the hard questions. Ask the things that you want to ask in your college career panel with all your professors or conference center where you're walking around chatting with all these professionals. Like ask the questions that you genuinely want to get out of this, and then take advantage of our resources at the end. I do want to flag one thing. Obviously, we would all love to give you jobs from all the amazing companies that we work for. However, this is more an opportunity for you guys just to hear from our experiences and everything like that. So feel free to, connect with us on LinkedIn and everything like that, but trying to keep the networking in this call as well. Just because obviously we would love to give you all jobs, but no one in this current room is hiring, but we will have resources for you. So don't worry. Okay, moving right along. So let's meet the gals and the powerhouse panelists. I'll start. So my name's Emerson. I'm sure most of you have maybe seen me from my TikTok video that started this all. A little bit of background, I am a social media manager at Klaviyo. Klaviyo is a tech company. We actually just replatformed to a CRM for e-commerce brands, but our main focus and what we're primarily known for is email and SMS marketing. We work for really, really cool brands. We have amazing customers, and I manage all of our social platforms. And something I've learned is that our team is very small and very hands-on. I'm kind of doing it all, so it's been a really awesome opportunity. Quick background, I graduated from Miami, Ohio. I saw a few Ohio people in the chat. Hi, Caitlin, love you. And I was a digital marketing and entrepreneurship major in college, which I think really helped like path that into my current experience. And I actually started my whole career in merchandising at Wayfair. So I can definitely speak to that whole like pivoting careers from where I started to where I am now. My strengths are finding the balance between personability and professionalism and networking. I kind of feel like I can chat with anyone and really focus on like, creating connections, telling a story when you're interviewing, things like that. And then in terms of my actual job, I love content creation. I love high level social strategy, everything like that. So that's a little bit on myself. And then quickly why I'm here. I started this because I felt like when I was trying to move into social, I reached out to so many people and I could never get an answer. I could never have the help that I felt like I needed. So I really just kind of worked my ass off and pathed my own journey, doing a bunch of side projects, things like that, to figure out how to pivot into social, how to get the job that I've always wanted and be where I am now. And I really just want to provide a resource for everyone in this call to be able to do the same because I know what it's like sending 1,000 LinkedIn messages and not getting an answer. So yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm super excited. I hope we can all take something from this, and I will pass it off to Ashley.
Hi, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm currently a social media manager at Wayfair, which is how I met Emerson. I manage social media and influencer marketing for Paragold, which is a luxury home company under Wayfair. So, a little bit of background, I graduated from Elon University in 2019 with a degree in marketing, and my internships were in fashion PR and um, finance for Berkshire Bank. So I had a little bit of experience in finance and then a little bit of social media experience from my PR internship. And I think that's what really helped me land my role right out of school. And now I'm going on 6 years of experience, and I've been a social media manager for three different companies, all in consumer goods. So some of my strengths are just my experience and knowledge being in the industry for so long. And I really love doing content creation, brand partnerships, and some of the platforms I have experience in are Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and a little bit of LinkedIn. So I'm here to help with like applying to internships and jobs post grad. And why I'm here is because social media is truly, truly my passion. I feel so lucky to be able to have a job where I can be creative in a corporate environment and still grow my career in marketing. So I really just like want to connect and help other college students and post grad find their calling because there's so many different careers within marketing, from brand partnerships and creative roles and graphic design, communications, which are just really great for someone who wants to be creative in a corporate setting.
Hi, friends. Thank you so much for having me this evening. My name is Nia. I am the Marketing and Communications Coordinator for Mass Golf, which is actually the Massachusetts State Golf Association. We cover all things amateur golf in the state. It's a little bit unique, but it is super fun. I'm here to talk all things sports. So I graduated with a degree in journalism and sports communications. And my primary background has been internships that involve all things sports, whether that be college athletics or golf on the marketing side. And I also dabbled in a little bit of events and promotions in my time as an intern. So I've kind of done it all and seen it all when it comes to the background of the sports industry and what that looks like pre-graduation and post-graduation. So I would say that my strengths fall in social media and content creation, a little bit of event management, and primarily sports videography and photography is what I focus on to then transfer that content to social media. And the reason that I am here today is because I know that sports is a super hard industry to break into, especially I know that there's a lot of gals on this call, but especially as a woman, it's very, very, very hard to break into. So it's my goal to be an advocate, be a friend, be a connection that you have as you're looking to enter into the sports marketing career field and outlining different ways that that can be possible for you.
Hi, everyone. Super excited to be here. I'm Ariel, and I'm co-founder and chief operating officer of Vizaro AI, which is a company that works with social media influencers. And just for a little bit of background on myself, I graduated from Boston University and am based in Boston. Right after college, I went into customer marketing at a consulting firm called Deloitte. And then I founded two startups. So I think that a lot of times people think of very traditional social media positions, but I get to work in the space in a little bit of a different capacity, working with influencers, also working on the tech side and building products that make everything go in the social space. And then I've like experience with product marketing, corporate marketing, and social media. It really runs the gamut. And then my strengths are in network and community building, managing a lot of stakeholder relations, like in my role right now. And then also just taking all the ambiguity and turning it into actionable marketing plans. Right now, my team is super small, so it's just wearing a lot of different hats. And then the reason I'm here today is because I think that there's so many opportunities in social media and marketing that aren't necessarily thought of when you're graduating that I didn't even know about. So I just wanted to shine a light onto that and, share my experience going into first marketing at a consulting firm, which I know a lot of people wouldn't think about, and then starting my own company. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Sharon Vogler, and I think I get the honor of being the more senior person on this panel, and I'm super honored and humbled to be a part of it. My background, currently a director of alumni and MBA career development at Wake Forest University in the School of Business. Prior to my time at Wake Forest, I was a recruiter. I worked with lots of companies. I was a manager of a staffing firm. And so it built a huge network and allowed me the opportunity to capitalize on some of those unique experiences to be able to bring that to Wake Forest. I started out on this journey about 6 months ago to learn how social media works, how you are able to monetize it, and can it be an actual career? And through that journey, I met Emerson, and I'm so lucky to meet these wonderful panelists because I really love the hustle. I have my full-time job at Wake Forest, and I also have a consulting business on the side where I help other people, create opportunities for themselves so that they can live their best lives. And I cherish and look for every opportunity to be able to give back and to help others. My strengths, I'm a certified career coach and a certified resume writer. I am a super nerd about networking and LinkedIn. I love it so much. It's one of my strengths and absolutely a passion. And then, I really love to show up for people and help them stay motivated. And I'm the greatest hype girl you could probably ever want. I'm here because I want to help and I want to learn. And I, like I said, love the hustle. And so thank you, Emerson, for letting me be a part of this.
Oh my gosh, so excited. I'm just obsessed with all the panelists. Thank you, girls, for the intros. We're going to move right along into how to get hired. Let's hear from Sarah from Form. Super excited when I originally started this and, put it out there, asked girls, like, girls and guys, would you guys be, oh, my light just went out. No, we'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. When I asked girls and guys, like, would you guys be interested in this? Like, what brands would you want to hear from? We got so many about Form, which I'm not surprised at all. I feel like on my personal channels, I'm always posting about Form. I've been doing the workouts since I was a freshman in college. All my roommates maybe wanted to kill me if they were below me. But it's been my absolute favorite workout. I have all the merch and all the things. So excited to have Sarah here with me. Sarah, if you want to just do a quick little intro on your career path, kind of where you started, where you are now, and then we can talk about Form a little bit and then dive into some questions.
Of course, thank you. And you're so sweet. And I'm so impressed that you were doing this in college. Let me say my college wellness journey was non-existent. So I am so impressed that people are very up to speed now in a way that I was not. But I'm the VP of marketing at Form. Prior to this, I led brand and performance marketing at Headspace. And before that, I founded my own marketing agency that was dedicated to the wellness sector. So as you can tell, I love all things health and wellness. And I really let that guide the latter half of my career. I feel drawn to mission-based products and brands. I just think it makes the work so much more fun and fulfilling. And when I think about marketing, I really love to think about the psychology of it. I think it really humanizes what we do in a business setting and also makes our work that much more impactful. And I feel like my strength is really building the plane while flying it. I've worked for predominantly startup companies or early stage growth companies. And so it's really a matter of kind of rolling up your sleeves, wearing many hats, and figuring out how to do things as they're happening, which I love. I think you're muted.
I love that. Do you want to speak just a little bit about Form for anyone that doesn't know what it is here?
Yes, of course. So for anyone who is not aware, Form is both a digital platform and an apparel company. We are driven by women. Community is at the heart of everything that we do. It is your all-in-one wellness destination. So we have expert-led workouts, nutrition, mindfulness, and apparel to really move with you. And our mission is to kind of meet women where they are along their journey and support them in every way.
Love it. All right, moving right on in. So the questions that I have prepared for Sarah, we'll have some time at the end too for any live questions that you guys want to put in the chat. When I obviously sent out the registration, you could fill out any questions that you had, and I kind of compiled like the most frequently asked questions. So we're just gonna dive right in. I'm so excited, selfishly. So first question, I think this is probably the most common one, but how did you get to where you are today? Speaking on your path, did you start at that entry level position? And then what shaped your journey the most?
So I'll take the second question first. Did I start at entry level? Absolutely. Yes. And it might not feel glamorous at the time, but I kind of want to change the stigma around that. Like, I think entry level should be glamorized in that there is so much to gain from an entry level role, arguably the most that you will gain from any position in your career. And so I wish that it was more embraced. I wish that I embraced it more. I feel like so often we compare our step one to someone else's step 20. But if we can just be present in that moment, there is so much to gain from it. So, yes, I started entry level. Entry level is awesome. And there is just a lot to take from it. In terms of my path, it is so all over the place and not linear. And this is not meant to be discouraging. It's actually something that I wish that someone had told me up front, because more often than not, I think the paths we take are not linear, and that is more than okay. I think we need to give ourselves permission to kind of stay flexible and lean into what truly matters to us in the moment. And that's what I did. As I mentioned, when I was in college, wellness was not on my radar at all. And then I very much changed and evolved as a person. And now I'm health and wellness obsessed and love that I get to do that professionally. But had I stayed so rigid in what I wanted to do in college, I would have been in a very different career that I probably wouldn't have cared nearly as much about what I do now. Um, and what shaped the journey the most for me, I think, again, also like that willingness to pursue my personal passions. And it's not always the straightforward path or the recommended path. For context, I left a very stable, financially fruitful career for one that was more aligned to just what I love to do in health and wellness. So I was a seller at Roku at the time. It was paying very well, but I just didn't care at all, to be totally honest. I didn't like that in sales I had to go out drinking, and I wanted to instead wake up early to work out. Like, it just was so misaligned for me. And so I took the risk, and that's when I founded my own marketing agency and kind of left it all on the table and took a huge risk, but it paid off.
This leads me to another question. I might have this later, so we can skip over it. But do you find that there's like a correlation with going into sales and then going into marketing? Because, then correct me if I'm wrong, but you at Roku, you were doing sales, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So going from sales to then marketing, like I feel like that is kind of like falls into that pivoting career aspect. Do you feel like
literally, yeah.
it would have been, oh, someone
She's in her grind.
unmute it. I'm sharing Queen Bee.
No, for real.
Going from the sales, yeah, to the marketing, like, did you have a hard time pivoting into that? Were you nervous going into a marketing agency with just
from recovery
background? Just any insights you can like give on that.
Yeah, I mean, sales is selling a product, or it can be selling yourself. And I think when you are interviewing, it is all about selling yourself. So in that sense, even though I didn't have traditional marketing experience, I was really selling myself and selling the experience that I had and how it would apply. I also want to be totally candid and say that when I left my job in sales, I was leaving to pursue entrepreneurship. And as much as I was, selling myself for people to believe in the business that I was creating and running, I was not interviewing for a traditional role at that time. It was my own business. I was really just having to take a risk on myself and believe in myself, and hope that it would pan out. and we can chat more about that for sure.
Cool. Okay, next question. So many people want to know, how can I stand out as a candidate? So what do you look for in resumes and interviews? How do you evaluate potential people? And then what qualities do you look for when building out your marketing team?
Yeah, I love this question. So much, I think, is obviously going to be skills and personality match. You want to be a good match with your manager and your team because truthfully, I think your experience at any company is 50% the work, 50% the people that you work with, if not skewed differently. And so it is so important to have that personality match and to suss that out, not only as the interviewer, but as the interviewee as well. And then beyond that, I think, let's say it's between a couple of really strong candidates. For me, I'm looking for someone that's going to take the extra step and showcase their skills and their passion in that specific job. And by the way, this is something that I have always done when I'm interviewing as well. So let's say you're interviewing for a social media manager, put together a mock social feed based on the ideas that you have for that brand. Or if you're interviewing for a brand marketing role, put together a presentation, or a life cycle marketing role, put together an email campaign. Show how you would actually apply these skills for this particular company. And I guarantee that's something that the other candidate is not doing.
Yeah. I feel like even when I was like looking for a new job, the question I always ask myself is like, what do you think is the boundary of doing too much? Like I was like, do it like putting together a mock social feed or doing this, like, is there a line where it's like this is a little too much, or do you think it's like go beyond, do as much as you can, like really show how passionate and how interested you are?
I don't think there is too much. I think you have one opportunity and it is so hard to get that opportunity that you should just seize it. And I think more often than not, and tell me if I'm interpreting this correctly, but a lot of the concern that I hear in like, is it too much is, am I going to not know enough, let's say, about the company that when I am putting together this mock email campaign or this presentation, that the limited information that I have will be wrong and therefore they're not going to like the presentation or something like that. Mm-hmm. When I'm looking at it on the receiving end, I'm so impressed by the effort that was put in, the time commitment that was put in, and more so looking at the thought process as opposed to what's actually on the paper. Like I'm not going and trying to use that from a company perspective without having them had any background. It's really looking for the thought process. So I don't think there is a too much.
I love that. No, that's great. That totally makes sense. Cool. Move on to the next question. Okay, this was probably one of the other most asked questions. A lot of girls and guys, they don't have a ton of marketing experience yet. What would you say are the most important things to highlight during interviews and networking convos? So what experience matters most when interviewing, and can I still be considered for a role even if I don't have a lot of marketing experience?
Okay. Yes, you can still be considered even if you don't have a lot of marketing experience. There are some caveats and some tips that I have. So the caveat here is don't just apply to everything under the sun, as tempting as it is and as challenging as the job market is. I know there's like the spray and pray method, but I think it's actually doing you a disservice and is wasting everyone's time. On the receiving end, what that communicates to me is actually just that this person lacks attention to detail. And that's never what you want to communicate as someone who's applying to a job. If I see someone who is submitting their resume and doesn't have any of the matching criteria for the job description and also doesn't explicitly call that out, I interpret that as, well, they just didn't take the time to read the job description. So if they're going to be lazy or not paying attention in this scenario, that's probably how they're going to be in the work setting as well. And that's not what you want to communicate as a candidate. I understand that not everyone is going to have the perfect amount of experience or criteria, and that shouldn't discourage you from applying. But I think there are ways to be explicit about that. So if you don't have experience in that field, or if you are entry level, I appreciate when it is acknowledged. I also appreciate when you work really hard to at least attain some sort of relevant experience. Like, let's say you work for something in your sorority or you do a club and then you call that out. Like, draw attention to something that you think has a parallel to the job that you are applying for. So it is noted that you are thoroughly reading through the job description, that you are super detail oriented, and I would call that out explicitly.
Great. I love that. I see we have some questions in the chat. We can save those for our live Q&A. And one thing I do want to add on to what you were saying, Sarah, is when I was applying to a job post grad, I applied to so many jobs, probably 50 plus, and I was barely editing resumes. I was barely editing cover letters beyond just changing the name of the company. And then when I was looking to leave Wayfair, I applied to two jobs. Two jobs. I gave it my all. Klaviyo, one other small startup in Boston. I ended up getting interviews for both those jobs. Some people might say it's the experience. I like to say it's that I really like had the passion. You could see it through the resumes, through the networking, through everything like that. So I love that you mentioned that.
100%. Also, you guys are so lucky that you have ChatGPT now. Like, I just have to say this. I am so envious because there are so many incredible ways to use this now to your advantage. And every single person should be using this. It is not cheating or gaming the system in any way, but there are so many cues that you can do. Like, by uploading the whole job description and your experience as well, and saying, based on my experience and this job description, what keywords should I make sure to include in my resume, or what should I flag in my cover letter? Or I'm interviewing with this person, this is their experience. What type of questions might they ask me? And based on my experience, how would you best recommend that I answer it? Now, don't take those answers word for word, but use that as a jumping off point to help you prep for the interview.
Yeah, I love that. Even just putting it, putting those line items through ChatGPT, like fix the grammar, no
Yeah.
spelling errors, nothing like that in your resumes when you have AI.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Moving right along. What advice would you give to someone just starting out their career? So put yourself in your college shoes. What would you say?
Oh man. I think the first thing, I already said this, but it's so true. Don't compare your step one to someone else's step 20. And I say this because I did this and it just is so not helpful. Um, and I think with that, give yourself grace. Like, these things take time, and there's not always like the glamorized version that I think we expect to jump into, but everything does happen for a reason. And with that, also, like, give yourself permission to pivot. It doesn't mean that you lack direction or that you're doing anything wrong. It means that you are finding what you are best at and what you will end up wanting to spend the majority of your day and your time doing.
Yeah, I love that. I know you mentioned like everything happens for a reason, and someone just said rejection is
Yeah,
redirection, which I
I love
love.
that.
Are there any like habits, mindsets that helped you grow along the way?
I mean, I'm a really positive person. So, and I think with that, I also like to surround myself with yes people, especially in a work environment. Like, who doesn't want to be with people who are just can do people, and then you always want to help them in return. And I think just starting every day with the idea that it's going to be a great day, or if things don't go your way, like let's say you get an email or frustrating news from a boss, like don't let it completely derail you. What can you do in those 5 minutes or in those 10 minutes to turn things around?
I love that. And follow Form on Instagram. I'm giving you the plug because they always post like mindset things as well. And just having that show up on your feed. I know it sounds maybe like hoo-hoo of me, whatever, but like it's so like pulling
Yeah,
affirmation cards, like that stuff sets you up, I swear, for success for your day, into your week, into your month, whatever it is. So,
so true.
okay, I think we have a few more. When looking back on your early career, I guess we kind of just talked about that, so I'm gonna skip over this one just so we have some time for the live chat. This is one that I thought was interesting, and I think we kind of touched on it, but do hiring managers truly care about portfolios or cover letters?
Controversial, but I do not. It's
Yeah.
all about the resume, in my opinion. And then I think like I said, once you are in the door, there are ways to stand out beyond the resume, but I do not personally care about the cover letter.
And if I have a resume and I say I have a website that is my portfolio and I link it on my resume, are people going to look at it or not really?
I think it depends on the job. So I don't want to make too many broad stroke generalizations. Like in marketing, there are times where I would look at that. So like a content creator, any of the more creative fields, but beyond that, for me, no. Um, Again, personal preference, but really I'm using that only for like true portfolios where I want to see demonstration of creative work.
Cool. Okay. And then this is a form question. Someone asked, I love this one. While everything within form works together seamlessly, how do you effectively market its different elements in a way that aligns with the brand without becoming too broad or veering off course? That's like
I
a
love
dense
this
question.
question. Yeah, thank you for whoever asked this. At Form, our community isn't just a part of what we do, it's the entire reason we exist. And so every workout, product, decision, it's rooted in the belief that when we show up for ourselves and each other, that's when transformation really happens. And so it's really actually very simple. Like we ask ourselves this single question: is this something the community would want? Are we serving the community? And I know that we're not veering in the wrong direction or getting off course so long as we still have our community's needs in mind.
Yeah. Everything's around community. That's, I feel like, what I've learned. And that's like, that speaks volume in form as
Yeah.
well.
And I think I will say for all these future marketers, that goes for form. But if you can embrace that as a marketer in general, you will be so successful because at the end of the day, that is what you are trying to do in marketing is think customer first. And so when you can get in that consumer centric mentality, you will be so incredibly successful.
100%. Okay, live Q&A. If anyone has any questions, I saw we had one in the chat. And if anyone has any other questions for Sarah while we're here, once again, like this is your time. Ask the questions that you wouldn't normally ask. If you want to come off mute, feel free to come off mute as well. I will start just with the first question that popped up a while ago. Do you recommend that we have personal marketing projects on our resume? If so, is there something we should focus on? And then if we're transitioning into social, should we try to apply to internships as well?
So for the projects, I think this goes to sort of what the role is. Like if it's more creative based, I would say anything where you need to show content creation or visuals, whether that be a actual creative producer or email marketer, things where you're going to want to show like layout or visuals, portfolios or projects can help. If not, not necessary and probably won't be viewed as heavily.
Love it.
What was the second question?
Do you think if moving into social, you should look for an internship first or just try to go right for those entry level roles?
I think there's no harm in trying. So I think so much is going to depend, first of all, on the company. I will say I would look very discerningly at the size of the company. Again, I want to be wary at making broad stroke generalizations, but typically smaller, leaner companies need, because they have fewer people on the team, need people who are more skilled because they don't have the luxury of leveling. Whereas bigger companies might have an assistant social media person reporting into an associate social media person into a social media manager, reporting into a social media director. So there's a lot more opportunity to get in at an entry level and to have someone mid-level train you, whereas that structure lacks in other environments. And so depending on the opportunities available, the companies that you're targeting, that might be where an internship is available. And then also some avenues are content creation as well. And that's sometimes a good in.
Got it. Helpful. Okay, I'm gonna do like two more. We have so many questions, which so amazing, but I'm trying to scan through them and seeing like what I think the other girls are gonna answer. So I really like this one. How would you approach reaching out to a recruiter from a company or a job that you want? And is there a way to do that without sounding desperate? Just like cold outreach. Do you ever want to see it or do you don't?
Absolutely. Yes. I love to see it. And I think it's just, again, how it comes through. Like, I think if you say something along the lines of, I am a fan of your brand. Here's why. Here's what it means to me. I really admire the most recent campaign you did. It reminds me of the work that I did doing X. I feel like I would be a great value to the team based on my experience. And here are some ideas that I have. And they're actually great ideas. Whether or not, you can say like whether or not you're hiring now, would love to be kept top of mind. And if you're open to it, perhaps we can grab coffee. I'd like to treat you to coffee just so we can connect.
Love it. And like, let me just say how I have all of those. I like think I have Form connections, but I was a community lead for Form in college. So I knew some of the girls that worked there. I reached out to them, starting that conversation. Like, I was like, this might sound desperate, but hey, like, love Form. I've been doing it since college. Like, keeping that personality there, showing your personality through that email. And then that's how I got connected to Sarah. So, like, yeah, don't be
I
afraid.
feel like, sorry, I didn't mean to, I was just gonna say, I feel like so often our ego gets in the way and it's hard not to, but if people don't think it's desperate, usually people just appreciate it.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, something I've learned in my 2 years, I'm going on a tangent, is like we're all humans. And that's why I'm doing this. And that's why I want it to be casual and a real conversation. Like we are all people behind the screen. Like, yes, Sarah's the VP of marketing at Form. You don't want to waste her time. But at the end of the day, like we are all humans just likely trying to help each other and grow and learn as we go. So, um, yeah, if you feel like you want to reach out, reach out. Okay, we're a little bit over time for where we should be right now, but one more question because I really liked this one. If you were starting out today, where would you invest your time to grow as a marketer outside of work or events like this?
That's such a good question. Um, Outside of work or events like this, I think I would make a list, first of all. I'm a list girl. I would make a list of all the companies that I was most interested in and sort of like a target list. And then I would keep a running eye on them. Follow them on TikTok, follow them on social media, look at the campaigns that they're running, look at the programs that they're launching, look at any events that they're doing. If they're doing any experiential or IRL activations, go meet the people who are working there, network. If they have any brand ambassador programs that you can apply to, apply, even if it's not a job. If you can get in that way, that's a good opportunity. And really just keep an eye on those. And of course, have, job notifications set up, know who the recruiters are, connect on LinkedIn, and then send those messages.
Love it. All right, Sarah, thank you so much. So helpful. I just learned so much as well. I feel like as I was asking questions, it was for myself as well. So thank you so much. We're gonna move on to Q&A with the panelists or the current social girls and answer some of the questions that you guys asked for us. I'm gonna pass the mic to Sharon. She's gonna pepper all of us and we'll just go through answering some of those questions.
Awesome. Sarah, really great advice. I just was taking so many notes. I hope I can go back and remember because I especially loved the example of the cold outreach that you gave, and also your remarks on surrounding yourself with good people and helpful people. It's such good advice, and so I hope you all were able to gain as much as I did from that. So we're going to move into talking to our rock star panelist. I am going to ask each panelist to answer this question pretty quickly, and then I have two questions for each panelist. And so we're going to start with everyone. And this question is, I just want you to refresh very quickly about your background and your work and what you do. And then I'd also like for you to talk about what your favorite brand is, or a favorite influencer that you have that inspires you and motivates you. And of course, everybody's answer can't be form. Okay, so that's a given today. It's everyone's favorite brand today. But Nia, let's start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, just a refresher. I am the marketing and communications coordinator at Mass Golf, which is a state golf association. So, as a company, we put on amateur golf events. I specifically focus on social media and content creation. And a brand slash account that very much so inspires what I do specifically has got to be the Masters Instagram account. Literally everything that they do is perfect if you are not familiar at all. Yes, Emerson. Yes, exactly. Um, that is like one that inspires my work, but like brands that I favor in following, like I love to just follow as a consumer. Two of them have got to be Set Active and Park by Chelsea Park. So those are, yes, the ones that I am currently obsessed with, and definitely inspire some of the different pieces that I bring to the table for Mass Golf.
Awesome. All right. Ashley, how about you?
Hi, so just for a quick refresher, I am the organic social media and influencer senior associate at Paragold, which is under Wayfair. One brand that I absolutely love and have followed is Bobby Formula. And the reason kind of goes back to Sarah, what you were saying earlier about a product having a mission. I absolutely love Bobby's mission and like what they've done for women. I really recommend checking out their LinkedIn and Instagram. They are just like so passionate about empowering women and motherhood. And I'm not a mom, but I've always been passionate about like paid maternity leave and like implementing that out through the United States. That's a whole nother tangent. But again, just like brands with a mission that you align with, Bobby Formula, love it.
Awesome. All right, Emerson.
Okay. Emerson, social media manager at Klaviyo, and one of my favorite brands. Ugh, you already said it, but I just have to say, from like, I mean, my company does their email marketing, so I know, but like Set Active, their emails get me always at the right time. They know what I'm looking for, they know when I'm shopping, they know everything about me. And that is so important for a business. And I feel like they really just like know their customers. I love their store in New York City. I feel like they know their audience, they know how to reach them, they communicate to those Gen Z girls and they get them. So love Set Active. Obviously love Form Workout Clothes more, but do love Set as a brand in general.
Okay, Ariel.
Awesome. Reminder, Ariel and COO and co-founder of Bizarro AI, so social media adjacent. And then I was gonna say I'm so inspired by like creators with like 10,000 followers. I was gonna shout out my friend who's Lizbeth because they're always testing out new formats. Her name, like her actual ad is like Lizzie Bear with two R's. But I love how they're like testing new things and really on the forefront of what's next in social. But if I had to shout out a brand, it would be Whiny Baby, which is a wine for Gen Z.
Whiny baby.
Yeah, they do charms on wine bottles. So if you're of age, you should check it out.
Can Gen X get those too?
I love it.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to Nia. Lots of questions in the chat, lots of questions in our feedback forms about sports. Everybody wants to get into sports. It's a very popular industry to get into. You know, we'd love to hear about your big break. What was the big break that got you into sports? What do you think that one thing was? And then I'll get to the next question.
Yes. So actually this goes back a little bit to Sarah, but not really. Something that I did in college was really branch out with extracurriculars. And I got involved with an organization on my campus called the Sports Business Club because my school doesn't have a sports management major. So like I technically didn't major in sports. I had to figure out how to get there on my own. So getting involved with a club of like-minded people who also wanted to work in sports was like my way in to start slowly making connections in the industry. And my biggest tip is to volunteer. There's always organizations, always groups that are looking for volunteers, whether you volunteer on a golf course. We specifically bring in volunteers for our events. You can also volunteer at your school through the sports. You can hand out posters. You can do a variety of different things that you're not going to get paid for, but you will get noticed with having something like that on your resume. And that's exactly what I did to get started. And I think it was a domino effect from there.
You can volunteer to run their social media for a cause when you're on campus. So tell us what a typical day looks like for you in the world of sports marketing, and how do you sequester your time appropriately? We all have a lot of balls in the air and we're juggling a lot, but I'm sure the spring is a very busy time for you in summer, with it being golf season. So tell us what a typical day looks like and how you keep yourself sane.
I don't. No, just kidding. I do. Every day is different, but most days start very early, about when the sun comes up. We are getting to the golf course. I specifically always have a camera in tow. We shoot and film everything on pretty high quality camera equipment, which makes us on social media stand out a little bit different from other brands. But we get to the course pretty early because tee times start really early, and the goal is really to capture the essence of the golf being played, the golf course that you are at, and the overall energy of what is happening on the golf course at that point in time. It's no different either. Like when I worked in college athletics, it's the same thing. The goal is to capture what's happening in and around the event, and spending a lot of time in the back end on the computer, editing, cutting, and getting that onto social media. Whether you are cutting that with a trending audio, whether you are letting that live with just regular sights and sounds of what's happening. It's really a back and forth of on the golf course capturing content and finding new ways to promote the same thing. Like for 5 hours, you are on this golf course, and all that's happening is different people are playing golf. So using a creative eye, you are figuring out different ways to share that content day after day and hour after hour, posting as much of that on social media. And then at the end of the day, our biggest goal is to put all of that content into like one recap bubble of like, hey, if you missed absolutely everything else that we posted today, here is a 90-second video clip that tells you exactly what happened on the golf course today and what you missed. So we spend a lot of time in Premiere Pro editing. We spend a lot of time in Photoshop editing pictures. Like I said, the entire goal is to capture what is happening and share that with our audience of people that might not have been there, and sharing that for people who may be coming across your content for the first time and what's going to keep them interested in coming back. So my day starts before the sun is up, and my day typically ends when the sun is down, but it is ultimately very rewarding. And protecting my time comes a lot with, yes, I get very tan. It's kind of scary. The farmer tan, though, very real. Um, but like protecting my time is like finding different ways to balance like my life outside of work. Getting involved in something like this is something that I've been very passionate about, of giving back to people that like need it more than I do, because I'm in a position to share my knowledge. I also work part-time as a yoga sculpt instructor here in Boston. I go on a lot of walks and I listen to a lot of music to like clear my brain. But there's always like a work-life balance to be found, and my company does promote a really solid work-life balance, which is also something like Sarah was talking about. You're interviewing them. It's a very big piece of the puzzle when you're working in an industry that changes very dramatically.
It surely is. And so, yeah, I started this mission to understand TikTok and how it's commoditized, but also to train myself on how to edit videos. And we're going to talk about some hard skills and soft skills in a second. But I'll tell you, if you love editing videos and you love capturing those kind of things, this is the right field for you, because a lot of people do not enjoy that part of the job. And I also really loved your comments about those boundaries, and some advice that I would give is is really set boundaries and protect those boundaries for yourself. A lot of it comes from within, and there's always work to do. There's always things to do, and that you would never sleep, right, if you tried to do them all. But really knowing that there's a finite amount of time in the day. So really great advice. All right, we're going to go get over to Ashley. And we're going to first talk about, you know, creativity. This is a very creative field, even if you aren't, a graphic designer or a content creator. So how do you get yourself unstuck, right? And how do you find motivation to keep going in a world, like I said, is just never ending. The to-do lists are never complete.
Yeah, this is such a good question because a social media manager, the role is half creative and half analytical, in my opinion. So during the creative parts, the rut can happen. So there's a couple of things that I do when this happens. The first one being switch projects that you're working on, use a different part of your brain, come back to it the next day with a fresh set of eyes. Another thing I do is just take a break, go on a walk, or switch up your environment. If you're in the office, go to a different part of the office, go walk to a coffee shop, work in a different part of your house, or get out of the house, change up your environment. Another really important thing that I think you should do in a creative role is I am always saving things for inspiration. So I think it's really important to have documents and folders with inspo for trending audios, different trends, different ideas, all those sorts of things, so that when you're working on a project, you don't have to start from scratch. You can just pull up your list of ideas and continue to add to them. And I think
That's
everything.
good. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
get to the next one. This is a real important question, and one that we got a lot of feedback on as well, and that is to go into some detail about skills, both hard skills, right? The hard skills, we just talked about some of those, and then the more softer skills needed to really get into a job or an internship in social media and thrive
Right.
in those environments.
Like I said, the job is creative and analytical. So I think it's really important to showcase both of those skills and also possess them. So being creative, I've always feel like I had an eye for like aesthetics and photo styling. So whatever being creative means to you, I think it's really important to like showcase that through a portfolio for a social media job. That's something that I did, and I think it really helped me stand out above all of the external and internal applicants. And then, in addition, the second skill is analytical and data insights. In the social media role, your job is to analyze how pieces of content are doing. You're going to be looking at metrics like reach, follower count, engagement rate, and then you need to make decisions and provide insights and recommendations on what's doing well, what's not. So I think it's really important to be able to have that aspect. And then also, this is a job where you need to be very organized. There's a lot of like calendars, the content creation calendars, and scheduling. So being organized and having strong communication skills are both really important as well.
Really fantastic. I'm not going to give any commentary there because we got to move along. So,
Yes.
Emerson, your question is about your. I think it's a real interesting intersection between your own personal social media presence and your professional social media presence. And so, how should candidates and how should people be? What should they be thinking about when it comes to defining those two lives, if you will, and how do you get through that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think especially nowadays, if you love social media, you're probably posting on TikTok, right? You're probably doing your day in your life in whatever city or whatever college you're at, or posting your recipes that you love, and that's amazing. Like, I will always encourage people to use their creativity and post on their own personal platforms as a way to tease that muscle, work on your social media presence, kind of see what works, see what sticks. I think this is twofold where it's like a company can have a really strong like leadership influencer presence. Obviously, form like Sammy Clark. I found her, I fell in love with her, and I then fell in love with the brand. So for a brand like that, having, her presence is important. But I think when trying to land a job in social media, like having, posting on TikTok and maybe being able to like be like, yeah, I love to do it as a passion, that can help. But ultimately, like branding yourself and branding a company are two completely different things. I always heard when I like was interviewing and when I was talking to my old hiring managers, they were like, I don't really care if you post a day in your life in Boston. Like doing our social, doing a brand social is so different than doing your personal social, especially given the industry. Like I work in a B2B space, like that is so different than, the stuff that I'm usually posting. So I would say work on your personal brand to tease that muscle, to work on the creativity, to learn more, to see what sticks. But beyond that, branding for yourself and branding for a company are two completely different things.
Very, 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 very different.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep moving. Ariel, this question is for you. And we've heard a lot about community and building community. And so how can someone start to build community and a network and connections in this space? How should they go about doing it?
Yeah, so I think community is so important to everything we do. And I would say the most important thing is approaching with genuine curiosity. So a lot of times I follow people that I'm so inspired by on LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok. And I think by having that genuine curiosity as the bedrock of why you're reaching out or why you're following, it's so important. But I think from there, it's about bringing it offline. So whether you can attend an event, or have a thoughtful follow-up from that, really focus on quality over quantity. I think if you can, from today, for instance, really make a connection with one person, whether it's your fellow attendee or someone on the panel, think about like one takeaway or one thing and make it a really big quality moment. And then I also think that we're in such a lucky position with social media, with LinkedIn, with TikTok, that it can be a two-way street. So really think about how you can give back to or share. It's like community. It's not just making that individual connection, but it's building that community. So think about ways you can either share on social something you learned, and maybe you'll get connection through that. Or just think about how you can connect through like liking, or sometimes I see my friends post events that they hosted and I'll just respond. It doesn't always have to be super like thought out, but I think that you have that moment to share that that was really cool, or I really liked what you did there. And it can be a really great way to build community in this space.
It's really great advice. And networking can be such a negative word for a lot of people, especially for those introverts out there who just are really uncomfortable putting themselves in situations and spaces and places where they have to be very vulnerable, and to really think about the fact that people really love to help, people want to help, and people will help. It's if they have time and you can get their attention, then they'll help. But really that community building is so very vital, and not just your first job but your whole career. And it's a two-way street. It's not, I need to network with you so that you can give me something and then we're done. This is a two-way street, and it's the relationships really that pay off. Talk about what it's like to work at a startup versus a big corporation or even a small business. It's unique, and some people may really gravitate towards it, and some people are very scared of the startup culture. So, last question for the panel, Ariel, tell us what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, so a startup is super exciting to me because it's so fast paced and you really get to shape the outcome. So I think that one benefit of being at a startup is you can see your immediate impact. I've had social media interns who have been able to post directly to feed after a few weeks and have been able to really drive what our strategy looks like, increasing the follower count and being able to directly attribute that to what they're working on. So I think that's the really cool part about startups is direct impact and really accessibility to leadership, which, for me, I was able to provide direct feedback. She's able to directly ask me questions. So I love that about it. It can be a place with a lot of ambiguity. So if that's something that you struggle with, or, it can be you really want a lot of direction. Startups are shaping their brand voice. So it can be a place where you get to be a part of that process. But sometimes I was like, what do you think, Hallie, about what our brand voice should sound like? And you will be able to be a part of that conversation. So I think that's like the difference is that it can be really exciting because there's so much ambiguity, but it can be also a little bit scary if it's your first time working in social media or you are not super excited about the brand that you're working for because you have that direct impact.
Yeah, it's got a lot of pros, but you're right. If ambiguity and structure are, things that you are thinking about, you might want to really ask some important questions before you move on. All right, Emerson, 8:05 on the
On the
money,
dot,
on the
on the
money,
dot.
on the money.
Guys, the thing I was most stressed out about was time, and we are on the dot. So loving this. All right. So many amazing questions in the chat. I love it. So many more things to answer and talk about. So we have 25 minutes left. We have 20 minutes for breakout rooms. We'll have one opportunity to move breakout rooms, so 10 minutes each. So if you have two that you really want to go to, these are the ones here. So pivoting careers, talking about how to move from one position into social, or maybe having a specific major and then getting into social from there. Then we'll have another room talking about resumes, cover letters, those hard things, what recruiters are looking at. We'll have one all about sports marketing. I bet you cannot guess who is leading that one. And then we'll talk about landing that internship post-grad job, and then networking, community, startup, marketing. I'm sure you can't guess who that one is either. And then Sarah's just going to be popping in and out for more questions because I know so many people have more questions for her. So Sharon is going to open breakout rooms. We'll have 10 minutes for the first one, 10 minutes for the second one. And then, yeah, we can wait, Sharon, I see that you're okay. So to close us off quickly, also while we're actually here, before I share my screen, for all the girls on camera, I would love to get a screenshot of everyone and post it on my LinkedIn. If everyone's okay with that, this is like, once again, using the opportunity, expanding that network. So if the girls on camera are good with being in a screenshot, I would love to take one. So are we all good with that? So we'll do, Mia's like laughing at me. So I'll just do a
It's
little
gonna remind
smile.
you.
Okay, good. Smile or wave. We'll grab that screenshot. Smile.
Emerson, can you see everyone?
I saw there are like 40 of us in here.
Okay.
Oh no, there's so many more girls on camera. Hold
You
on.
might have to do two. You might have to do two.
I'll do one more. Okay. So girls on the second, everyone smile again, even though I'm not in this one. Okay, give me your best smile. Love it. Okay, I love it. Cool. Let's close out quickly. I know we're at time. It is past my bedtime here in Boston. It is 8:34. I should be in bed by now.
Emerson, I
Okay.
got it 5:30 a.m. Let's
Oh, I taught at 6:30 a.m. Nia and I both teach our core powers, so we know. I know, I'm like, wrap it up. Okay. Amazing. That was so insightful, so helpful. I love chatting with everyone. The resources do not stop here, though. Scan this QR code, get out your phones. We have a Google Sheet linked with everyone's LinkedIn. We have resume templates. Sarah and the Form team has been so generous. Any girls that want to try Form will get 20% off an annual membership with a special code behind the feed at 20. So if you want to give it a go, I think you guys do a 7-day free trial too. If you still do that, I loved it. So definitely try it out. And then join that membership. It was the best thing I ever did. And especially you college girls, like get those dumbbells in your apartment or in your dorm and work out with the amazing trainers there. So Sharon also has a guide all about landing a job, all about the internship, post-grad search, everything from resumes, interviews, networking, everything under the sun. She just released this guide, and there is a code once again in that resource stock for 50% off the guide, which is absolutely huge, coming from such like a professional in the space. So if you want to get that guide, learn more, check it out there. And then we also, one more exciting thing, we have a LinkedIn group. So anytime one of the panelists comes across an entry-level social job or a social job in general, we are adding that job to the LinkedIn group. So if you join our group, you'll see those pop up whenever we add them, whenever we see them. Once again, if you see one of those jobs, I'm speaking for myself, but I'm sure others here will say the same, and you see at a company I have a connection with, reach out to me. I'm happy to tie the loop there and hopefully get your foot in the door. So definitely join that LinkedIn group as well. We'll be posting way more in there coming up. And then this is my reminder for a photo, which we did. And I want to just leave everyone with these few messages. I'm a Pinterest fanatic and I'm always going there, but you're never ready for what you have to do. You just do it, and that makes you ready. I was not ready to do this. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm going to get emotional, but I posted one TikTok and, it blew up. And that's the power, A, of social media. But B, I never hosted a webinar. I actually don't even think I've attended a webinar. So I don't know what they're supposed to be, but I wasn't ready. I just did it. And now this is something that I can add to my portfolio. I can add to my LinkedIn, and that can help me land my next dream job. So take that with you. And then reminder always, you are qualified for the career that you want. Put yourself out there, spark those conversations with the strangers, send those cold outreaches, continue joining things like this. Like, you are putting yourself already so far above everyone else just by being interested, asking the hard questions, and showing up to things like this. So you should be so proud for being here, and you're taking the steps already. And I promise, like, it might be disheartening at times, but you will get there. And I'm so grateful for everyone that joined, the panelists. So grateful, met them all. We all knew each other kind of in Boston, but really through TikTok. And once again, power of social media right there. So thank you all for joining. Make sure to check out those resources. We will send you the video. We'll add it in that resource doc, the recording to come back to. But I really appreciate everyone's time, and I hope everyone has an amazing rest of your week. Hopefully it's nice and sunny where you are. And yeah, definitely follow me on TikTok. We'll probably be doing more of these because it was too fun and so many more questions to answer. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hi, is there any way
Thank you.